All right, so I know we kind of go through this every year, but this All-Star game is gonna be very, very interesting. And you're probably thinking it's way too early to be talking about All-Star, and you're probably right. But if you look at last year, All-Star voting started December 19th. Now, I don't know when it's gonna start this year, but December 19th will be here in about 4 weeks. That'll be a blink of an eye, right? We'll be there very, very soon. And it's going to be intriguing, first of all, because we're doing USA versus the world, which I kind of like. I don't like that it says that if we don't have the necessary requirements of 16 USA players, 8 foreign born players, that Adam Silver will make the necessary adjustments or placement. I don't get that. I would really hope that what that means is we're gonna call up a Rising Stars player if we don't have enough players to fill it out. I don't like the idea of just adding another All-Star just to make the teams even. I don't like that. But let's say we only got 15 American All-Star players. Let's just call up Cooper Flag, have him play in the All-Star game. Don't count it as him making an All-Star team, but I would prefer that than just handing out an All-Star to, a borderline All-Star player. But we'll see. And we know there's going to be injuries, but also this year, there's no more positions. So we can have an All-Star team of just a bunch of guards out there. But when you look around the NBA right now, there's a lot of first-time All-Stars. If we look at last year's All-Star teams, there are a bunch of guys that more than likely will not be All-Stars this year. Trae Young due to injury, Pascal Siakam, terrible team right now. Jalen Williams, probably not going to make it, probably not going to play enough games. Jaren Jackson Jr., Tyler Hero's not going to make it. Darius Garland probably won't make it. Anthony Davis won't make it. Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving, all All-Stars last year. How many players I just named? And I didn't even remember that Tyrese Halliburton was not an All-Star last year. Kind of crazy looking back at that. But that's 11 guys, including Tyrese Halliburton. That's 11 guys that were All-Stars last year that will not be All-Stars this year. I don't know if we've ever seen that. 10 of the 24 All-Stars from last year are probably not going to be All-Stars this year. The only name that I said that I can still see making an All-Star team this year is Darius Garland. So I just think, 20 years from now, when we look back at this All-Star year, it's going to look very, very funny. Or maybe all of these guys are going to be here to stay and it's just a changing of the guard. Because I don't know the record for most first-time All-Stars, but last year we had 6, and I believe all of them are here to stay and will be multiple-time All-Stars. Besides Tyler Hero, that's the only one I'm iffy on. I'm not saying he can't be a multiple-time All-Star, but that's not one I'd bet on. Everyone else, I'm pretty confident will be. Wemby, Cade, J-Dub, Şengün, Evan Mobley. All those guys will be back in the All-Star game. When you look at this year, I have 6 people off top of my head that I believe are going to be first-time All-Stars this year. And I don't know how many of them I would project to be perennial All-Stars going forward. But you got Jalen Johnson. You got Jalen Duren, I believe, is going to make it. Denny Avdia, I feel like might end up being one of the bigger snubs, but as of right now, I would say he should make an All-Star team. Austin Reeves, I think, is playing at an All-Star level. If he doesn't completely fall off, I think he's going to make an All-Star team, and the Lakers are going to end up with 3 All-Stars, whether you want to call that fair or not. I think Austin making it is fair, and Bron is Bron, so Bron got to make it. So they're probably going to have 3 All-Stars. We got Norman Powell's probably going to be an All-Star. Josh Giddey's probably going to be an All-Star, and make it 7 because I always forget that Chet has not been an All-Star. So off top of my head, that is 7 first-time All-Stars. So I don't know if we've ever had 7 first-time All-Stars. Like I said, last year we had 6, but I don't know if we've ever had a crop of first-time All-Stars where a lot of us are iffy on the idea of them being perennial All-Stars. Even like Jalen Duren, I think he's going to have a great career, but I don't think it would surprise anybody if he's a 1-time All-Star, 2-time All-Star type of player. And obviously I can't predict the future. These guys are playing at an All-Star level, so who am I to say they can't continue to play at this level? I just think between the young players coming up and the older players that will be coming back, like a Tatum, like a Tyrese Halliburton, like I love Denny Avdia. Would any of us be surprised if he ends up being a 1-time All-Star type of player? Josh Giddey, 1-time, 2-time All-Star, that's kind of where I projected him to be. The only one of these players that I look at and say I would bet they make, 4 or 5 All-Star teams is Chet. And part of that is just situation. as well as the pedigree of being the number 2 overall pick, and people expect that from him, and that matters in these conversations. But actually, you know what? Jalen Johnson as well. I'd be surprised if he's a one-time All-Star. I could see him getting 4 All-Star games in his career, but we might look back at this All-Star game 20 years from now and think, man, what was going on there? So I've been trying to find the record of most first-time All-Stars, and I'm still not sure if I found the record, but looking back at 2020, we had 10 first-time All-Stars. That was Trae Young, Luka, Pascal Siakam, Tatum, Bam, Sabonis, Donovan Mitchell, Brandon Ingram, Devin Booker, and Rudy Gobert. But when you look at those names, it's not just hindsight. It's like we knew in that moment that we had some superstar players that were going to be perennial All-Stars. In Luka, we thought Trae Young would be an All-Star every year. Tatum, Donovan Mitchell was a budding superstar at that time. Like, people thought Donovan Mitchell was about to not take over the league, but you guys remember those early Utah days where he just burst onto the scene. Brandon Ingram, most improved player. It seemed like he was going to be a perennial All-Star. He only has 1 All-Star team. Again, we have hindsight now, so it seems crazy to say this, but considering Brandon Ingram was the number 2 overall pick, I would say Brandon Ingram making the All-Star team that year felt more like a sustainable thing, a sustainable level than if Denny made it this year. And I'm not saying Brandon Ingram was a better player that year than Denny is this year. I'm just saying the way it feels, right? It doesn't feel like, okay, now Denny's going to be an All-Star every year. It kind of felt like that about Brandon Ingram and Tatum, and, you know, obviously, again, B.I. didn't live up to that, but yeah. And speaking of Brandon Ingram, I actually feel like he has to make it this year or he's never going to make it again. Because once you go to a new team, new situation, new conference, if you make an All-Star game this year, we think of you as an All-Star, as a multiple-time All-Star. And once you have that tag on you, it becomes a lot easier to make the next one. Look at Joe Johnson as a perfect example. 6 All-Stars. Go look at the stats and tell me how many you think he actually deserved. But my point was, if we go back and look at the 2020 All-Star game, yes, it was all a bunch of first-time All-Stars, but none of it felt weird. None of it felt out of place. It gave us that feeling. Same thing as last year, where we know Cade is going to be at this level, or at least we think he's going to be at this level. Evan Mobley, J-Dub, Şengün, Wemby, all felt like and feel like perennial All-Stars. But again, I know it's way too early. Injuries will happen. There will be injury replacements, but a lot of these guys are going to make All-Star teams. Like Norman Powell is probably going to make an All-Star team, and it'll just be funny to look back in history. And I'm also fascinated to see maybe the guys we thought were done making All-Star teams, if they make another one, like Brandon Ingram. Is it possible for Brandon Ingram and Scottie Barnes to make it? Does Julius Randle get an All-Star appearance? I feel like it's going to be a battle between him and Denny for one of the last spots. And they very low-key have similar games offensively. I think Jimmy Butler has been playing at an All-Star level, but the Warriors aren't winning games right now. If they go on a little bit of a run, I could see Jimmy Butler making an All-Star team. Maybe De'Aaron Fox goes on a little bit of a push without Wemby here for a bit. I could see it coming down to De'Aaron Fox or Austin Reeves for that last spot. I didn't even mention Amen Thompson. I wouldn't think the Rockets are going to get 3 All-Stars, but his name definitely deserves to be in the conversation. Then you got other guys where I'm interested to see how much we care about winning this year, like what James Harden is doing, even though the Clippers are 5-12, what Lauri Markkanen's doing. Again, way too early to be talking about it, but like I said, last year, All-Star voting started December 19th. That is right around the corner, and I believe this is going to be one of the weirdest All-Star years we've ever seen, partly because of the new rules, but just a weird year in general so far. Again, I know it's early, but it's going fast. It's going fast. We're already 20 games in, so let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Please like, comment, subscribe. It will mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.